now let me talk about an election that is going to be the most important governance race in a generation. I want to begin that conversation by saying, and I mean this with perfect seriousness, you are going to have a wonderful field of Democratic candidates. Ron Sparks has been a superb agriculture commissioner. I've worked with him on a range of issues over the last 7 or 8 years. He cares about our farmers, he cares about the rural pockets in our state, and he values people. Ron Sparks, I believe, would be a very good nominee and a good governor. Roger Bedford, if he is so inclined to do so, would be a good nominee and a good governor. A state senator who has fought for people all over this state. State senators worked enormously hard to fight for the things that people in this room care about in Montgomery, and someone who came so close to stopping Jeff Sessions from sitting in judgment on judicial nominees. Sue Bell Cobb, whether she runs or not run, has been a superb Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court. She has been my friend for a number of years. She is a person of enormous dignity and enormous grace. Whichever combination of those individuals end up in this race, whichever combination of those individuals join me in stepping up to the plate, I will be honored to stand on a stage with them. I will be honored to match my vision and my goals for this state against them. Because, ladies and gentlemen, one of us needs to become governor of the state. One of us Democrats needs to have a chance to be the person who's crafting a budget in 2011 when the stimulus money has run out and when our tax revenues will likely still be down. One of us needs to have an opportunity to sit in that chair. One of us needs to be the one who charts the agenda for how we can build and strengthen public education in this state in the next decade. One of us needs to lead the fight for a Constitution that sounds like the 21st century, not 1901. One of us needs to lead the fight to level the walls between urban and rural. And let me assure you, if I didn't think I was the best person to do it, I would not be running. Let me assure you of that. Now, how do we think about this election? I want to put a face on it. A couple of months ago, I got a phone call from the CEO of Weyerhaeuser. Called me on a Friday afternoon and said, "Davis, I want you to know something that I'm going to tell the people at my plant in Pine Hill in about an hour. We're closing our doors. Yes, we're the strongest, sturdiest employer in Southwest Alabama. We provided a base and a lifeline for a generation of families. It ends as of 4 o'clock today. 330,000 people, 330 people out of work. 330. A week later, I went down there and I met with about 100 of those individuals. A woman stood up in the audience and she said to me, "I never thought this would happen. I was working for the best. When I would hear about my friends being unemployed, I would think, thank God I work for Weyerhaeuser, where I've got good benefits and they treat me well and they allow us to unionize. And now here I am." I looked at those people. I could sense how hard they worked in their lives. And I could sense that unemployment was a new psychological phenomenon for them. Not just a new fact, but a new psychological phenomenon. Birmingham News, a month ago, did a piece on the rising unemployment rates in our state. They told the story of a man in Shelby County making high five figures around 80,000. He's a manager for a national computer company that had an office here in Jefferson County. Because of the economic contraction, the Nationals had to lay off some people. That meant they needed one less manager. Last manager in, first manager out. And this guy who was playing by the rules, with skills, with $80,000 worth of wages, talked about how for the first time in his career, he had to pick up the phone book and look for the blue pages and figure out just who do you call about unemployment insurance benefits. Profile of an unemployed person. It's not people like that guy. I could tell other stories, but ladies and gentlemen, there are people who are hurting in our state. And if I may be so bold as to say it, our party, the Democratic Party, is a better party for people like that. Our party has done and will continue to do a better job of recognizing that no matter where you start in life, you have the potential to rise. You also have the potential to fall based on what can happen if a modern economy careens out of control. You can rise and you can fall. We know better than our adversaries on the other side of the ideological divide. We know and we appreciate that where you begin is not determinative of where you're going to finish. We appreciate that. And oh, how we need a governor who appreciates that. It's very easy if you're practicing ideological politics to say, we're going to turn down the unemployment insurance money. We don't need it. A lot of folks who voted for me are concerned about it. But when you're thinking the way this party has learned to think, and you realize that we have an obligation toward people in the valley and people on the side of the mountain, the high side of the mountain, because of what we believe, we're ready to move when we have an economy that's facing the kind of crisis that we're in now. There's a face, ladies and gentlemen, on these problems. There are faces all over our communities, and because those faces look like all of us in this room, we're being reminded of what we Democrats believe. We are bound to each other. We are obligated to each other. That's what my Democratic Party believes. That's the kind of governor that I want to be.